Colin Chapman, the visionary in Formula One, revolutionized the sport with his innovative designs. However, his pursuit of progress came at a heavy cost, as great drivers had to sacrifice their lives in the pursuit of victory. Chapman's groundbreaking ideas pushed the limits of engineering, but the tragic names of the greatest in Formula One serve as reminders of the sacrifices made. Despite the moral debates, Chapman's impact on Formula One remains undeniable, forever shaping the sport into what it is today. Born on May 19, 1928 in London, England, Chapman exhibited an early passion for engineering. His interest in automobiles began during his childhood, tinkering with engines and constructing model cars. After completing his education at the University College School in London, he pursued a degree in mechanical engineering. These formative years laid the foundation for his future endeavors in the automotive industry. Chapman's early career can be traced back to his time at the British Aluminum Company. Working in their research laboratory, he gained valuable experience in metallurgy and lightweight construction techniques. These skills would prove instrumental in his later work with Lotus. That same year, Chapman started his career in motorsport by modifying a motorsports car, which he entered in local racing events with. He named the car Lotus, and although he never confirmed the reason, it is believed to be after his then girlfriend and later wife, Hazel, whom he affectionately called Lotus Blossom. During this time, he showcased his talent for finding ways to enhance competitiveness while adhering to the rules. For instance, he improved the engine's performance by modifying the ports, but when the rules changed to prohibit his specific modifications, he adapted and continued to excel. Chapman's success continued with the Lotus 6, and he began selling kits for these cars. More than 100 kits were sold by 1956. However, it was the Lotus 7 the next year that truly launched his career, and the version of that car, the Caterham 7, is still manufactured today by Caterham Cars. Various manufacturers have offered over 90 different versions of that car, including clones and replicas. Then, Chapman's breakthrough came when he decided to enter the top of the racing world, Formula One. He introduced two Lotus 12 cars in Monaco in 1958, driven by Graham Hill and Cliff Allison. However, these were later replaced by Lotus 16s during the same year. Next year, when Formula One rules allowed for 2.5-liter engines, Chapman continued to use front-engined F1 cars but achieved limited success. Realizing the need for a change, Chapman made a significant shift in 1960 by adopting the groundbreaking mid-engined car. Stirling Moss secured a victory for Lotus at Monaco that year, with the team also experiencing triumphs in Formula 2 and the Formula Junior categories. Additionally, their road car business flourished with successful models. Jack Sears drove the Cortina to win the British Saloon Car Championship title, a feat that was repeated by Jim Clark in 1964. Unfortunately, Chapman's mission for speed would come at a huge cost. At the 1960 Belgian Grand Prix, Mike Taylor would suffer a huge crash in practice, where his body flew out of his car and into the trees, breaking several bones. Not only that, but in the race, a huge fatal accident would occur when Alan Stacey crashed at 190 km per hour after being hit in the face by a bird mid-race. Some spectators claimed the bird had flown into Stacey's face while he was approaching a curve, possibly knocking him unconscious or even possibly killing him by breaking his neck or inflicting a fatal head injury before the car crashed. Then, in 1962, Stirling Moss, one of Formula One's greatest drivers, was involved in a crash during the Glover Trophy while driving his Lotus. The accident resulted in him being in a coma for a month, and he experienced paralysis on the left side of his body for a period of 6 months, prompting his retirement from Formula One. Fortunately for Colin Chapman, the most talented Formula One driver, Jim Clark, achieved an impressive feat by securing 7 victories in 1963 while driving the Lotus 25, ultimately winning the World Championship by a mile. Then, in 1964, the title was up for grabs until the final race in Mexico, but issues with Clark's engine allowed Surtees to clinch the championship in his Ferrari. However, Clark reasserted his dominance again in 1965 with 6 wins in his Lotus 33, earning him another championship title, while also missing a race to win the Indy 500. While Lotus seemed unstoppable, Lotus found themselves unprepared due to in part of an unexpected failure of developing a successor for the 3-liter engines. Although they fell short of winning the title in 1967, The Lotus 49 car had matured enough by the end of the season to restore the team's dominance. They started the next season strongly with a 1-2 finish by Jim Clark and Graham Hill at the South African Grand Prix, confirming Lotus's superiority. Unfortunately, once again, Colin Chapman's ambition for speed over anything came at a huge cost. On April 7th, Jim Clark would pass away in a Formula 2 race using one of Lotus's junior cars. I have a video on Jim Clark that you can watch after this, link in the pinned comment. Clark's death devastated Chapman, who publicly stated that he had lost his best friend, and vowed from now on to focus more on safety. But in reality, there was a noticeable separation between Chapman and other drivers. No longer was he friends with them, as he was too scared to see another loss at the wheel. Unfortunately, not more than 2 months later, Mike Spence would also tragically lose his life at the wheel of a Lotus at Hockenheim during a test session. And even though winning the 1968 title, Graham Hill suffered a terrible crash in 1969, since the car was very aerodynamically fragile. And 1 year later, with another great but dangerous car, Jochen Rindt would die at the Italian Grand Prix. When the car hit the barrier head-on, Rindt submarined forward and the lap belt inflicted fatal head and neck injuries. The rest of the 1970 season was nail-biting, as Ferrari closed in on Rindt's undefended lead, but a brilliant victory in the US Grand Prix saw rookie driver Emerson Fittipaldi seal the championship for Rindt, who became the only man in history to win the World Championship after death. I also have a video on Jochen Rindt, which you can also watch after this, link in the pinned comment. Lotus's 1971 experiments did not bring any serious advances in technology but allowed Chapman to test several drivers. And in 1972, we would see the very iconic livery that many people considered the greatest of all time, and was a new brand developed to make the most of the promotional power of motorsport. Lotus also took the championship by surprise that year with Emerson Fittipaldi, who became, at the time, the youngest world champion. Team Lotus became the first constructor to reach 50 wins, surpassing Ferrari, who had won their first Formula 1 race in 1951, 7 years prior to Lotus's debut in the sport. This was a testament to Colin Chapman's genius in the sport. He constantly innovated, revolutionized, and applied techniques that would make his car the fastest it could be on the track. In 1976, Chapman and Andretti coincidentally met in a hotel coffee shop and made the decision to collaborate. Andretti's expertise in car development revitalized the struggling Lotus team, leading to new possibilities. Engineers began exploring the concept of aerodynamic ground effects, which paved the way for their remarkable success in 1978. Mario Andretti's exceptional performances with these cars earned him the F1 World Championship that year, but sadly, it would be their last. After years of pushing the boundaries of automotive engineering, Colin Chapman faced personal and financial difficulties in the 1980s, and then, tragically, Chapman's career was cut short when he passed away on December 16, 1982, at the age of 54. His death was attributed to a heart attack, and the loss was devastating to the Lotus brand as a whole. Debts would mount up, and after unsuccessful attempts of redemption, we would see their demise in 1994. Chapman had 2 daughters and 1 son named Clive Chapman, who is currently the head of Classic Team Lotus. The company specializes in the restoration, maintenance, and operation of historic Formula 1 cars from Team Lotus, a tribute to Colin Chapman's legacy. Colin Chapman, the trailblazer and mastermind behind Lotus, left an undeniable mark on the world of Formula 1. His relentless pursuit of innovation and groundbreaking ideas transformed the sport, propelling it into a new era of technical mastery and performance. However, Chapman's relentless drive for progress came at a cost. The quest for speed and pushing the boundaries led to controversies and tragedies. Fatal accidents, bans, and debates surrounding safety clouded his path to greatness. Colin Chapman, the visionary behind Lotus, reshaped Formula 1 with groundbreaking innovations. His relentless pursuit of progress led to triumphs, controversies, and sacrifices. In the end, it is up to you, the viewer, to decide if the evolution of the sport, with its advancements and challenges, was worth the price paid, of such great talent lost, but such huge advancements created. Hope you enjoyed. If so, like the video and subscribe, as it would help me out a lot. You can check out the videos of Jim Clark and Jochen Rindt in the pinned comment, or you can watch this video that's on your screen right now about the tragic story of the fastest Formula 1 driver. See you there!